You're listening to AM Talk Radio with your host, Miss DJ. And welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. This show is broadcast, is opinion only. Op-ed is welcome. For those of you who do blogging, I would welcome your opinions only. This is not criticism or critiquing. You don't have to be well informed to know that there's obviously everyone else out there that has an opinion. We play judge, jury, and advocate here. We advocate on pro-life issues to a variety of all topics that are important to the Christian worldview. So, with that said, I've decided to bring about the Court of Public Opinion back to the airwaves so that we would have a place to go and also a means of a career. And I stated this earlier because I did not know if I was coming back to radio. And I wanted to do a talk radio segment where I think it's important that obviously the topics of today, the current events, which obviously is the border. I wouldn't ignore that at all. Obviously, there's a lot of other topics that we can get to, but we're going to talk about the La Palma volcano, and what is coming now is what I've seen on social media. And I'm going to borrow from Israeli News Live from Stephen Ben Danoon, is this report about sulfur and a second eruption coming. And that's the possibility here that we're watching for. And there's a lot to say about that in this segment. So we might skip around a little bit, but for those of you who would like to comment below, I would really appreciate your input because it does help me with your feedback. Basically, it gives me some more material that I can maybe get some more information gathering on my free time and respond back. A lot of the questions that you might have, I might have too. So, I mean, we learn as we go. The one thing we've done is we created Theater of the Mind, something I borrowed from Rush Limbaugh. I wanted to create this show for the purpose of learning from the best of the best in radio. And I started out in radio really at 17 years old. Now I'm 50 years old and I have been behind the scenes. I've also worked at 103.3 FM in Charlotte at a Christian radio broadcast station. So I have learned both amateur and professional radio. I didn't make a whole lot of money doing it. So I want a job and career. So that's why I decided to go back to career radio work. And that would be backdrops to lighting to radio. And mainly radio because I really think that eventually once I get my material together, I will be able to broadcast some things. Now, earlier I did a report and I may have to make a correction about that La Palma mountain about being at Wormwood. That was I made a mistake on this. Okay, that is not what I should have said. I should have said it's possible that after that event, that stars burning could become Wormwood. That is during the Draconoid meteor shower in October 7th and 8th to be specific. Now, if you're watching for these events like I do, you're wondering what is going to happen October 7th and 8th. Well, a lot. Okay, actually starting October 4th up until the 8th, 9th, it's going to be some interesting events from here into the heavens. Now, you already know about the Lot of Sea if you haven't already followed some of my posts. The Lot of Sea is a deal between the UN and the, well, let's just say it's a covenant of many, possibly. I'm just going to say it is, because it looks to me like from all the posts I've been following Ken Raggio, if you haven't followed him, then you're missing out. Really, he gives a lot of information. Now, how many of you are fans of Dr. Barry Ott? Because I love him. I love his entertainment and what he brings forth. Ken Potter has a great show, by the way, and I noticed by some of his interviews, and they are very accurate. I mean, he's very precise. So we learn a lot from the YouTube community. And I also enjoyed the TOL radio show last night, or it was a live broadcast last night. I learned a lot. TOL talking the end times with Jonas, and he is very good, very good. So I've learned a lot. I'm just getting familiar with it, so just bear with me. If you're getting familiar with the YouTube community that studies and follows these topics, then you are like me. You're new at it. You're just kind of coming around. Now, Council of Time, I studied a little bit about that, and I've been watching that program for quite some time. In fact, I followed Mike from around the world since 2011, since he's really been on the Paul Begley Show. Now, I watch Paul Begley's show, and then there's been some interesting things about the Paul Begley Show that I haven't really been able to follow. So I try to watch as many shows as possible and give you my best opinion. Let me just say this. It's a lot of information gathering and learning a little bit about every topic. I might miss something. So sometimes it's good to have some people fill in for me and try to maybe get some information that will fill in the gap. Remember, we're here to do one thing: edify each other. Encourage each other too. And in this talk show, I want you to feel relaxed enough to say, hey, she's just doing her best to encourage and edify the body. And that is true to this topic. We have a great broadcast. Now, when I say we created the Court of Public Opinion, you be the judge, we say judge the content of the information, not the people, okay? It was an old broadcast started when I was in college. When I was in college, this is how it started. I had a professor who said, judge the content, not the people. And that's basically where this whole show started. So when we get to the full Monty of this talk show, you will see where we are going with it. Now, I have to wrap it up here for the Court of Public Opinion. Thank you again for listening. I do appreciate your time. Thank you again. And when we get back to the next segment, I want you to think about some of the things that we talked about. If you have some information that might be of interest and you can fill in the gap for me, I definitely want to hear from you in the comment section below. I will reply if it's pertaining to the topics that we're talking about. La Palma, I'm sorry, did I say that right? La Palma, or I just lost my train of thought. La Palma, volcano, and also the volcano that's erupting in Alaska. So remember, there's a couple events going on right now, and we're going to talk about the border issue in the next segment once we get to that subject. But we want to talk about this border issue when we get to that next segment. So in the meantime, hold on one second. I want you all to know that this whole thing, you know what? Skip that. I'm just going to skip the break. I want to talk about the border real briefly. The border issue is so serious right now that, let's just say, America has to get used to something really quick. If we can't get this corrected at the Del Rio, Texas border, where this is going, I don't know how we're going to react to what's going to happen in all areas of America, because it's going to be very complicated. You're going to have a little bit of issues with what the Biden administration is planning on doing. So please remember, this is very unexpected, and they have the border is flooded with Haitians and all kinds of things going on, and not to mention probably terror cells. So we will get to those topics, and we will get to that subject at the next segment at the Court of Public Opinion. I don't know a lot about what to say about it because I think it's shocking as it is. So when we wrap this up right now here at the Court of Public Opinion, like I said earlier, how do you feel about the border issue with the flood of migrants and how we're paying for this as U.S. taxpayers? And what is it going to be when they start busing these migrants into your neighborhood? Because I saw it at the hotel when I was at the up the street, and I could not believe it was already being brought into my neighborhood. So you might want to respond. I would love to hear from you in the comment section. Okay, let's wrap it up for the Court of Public Opinion. Thank you again for listening. I appreciate your time.